Hello everyone and now welcome to a game between Hawk versus Happy. Here we have Hawk spawning as the blue human player over here on the top left hand side of the map. Meanwhile over here on the top right we have Happy spawning as the red undead. Undead versus human in this 1v1 matchup here on Echo Isles, a game or a matchup that we have seen a countless number, well, I'm sure it's not really countless, a large number of times. I'm sure if someone actually went back and counted all of the games that I've casted here and the games I've played, well, I don't know. It just seems like a game we've seen quite often. Anyways, getting stuck on details, trying to be too technical, let's go ahead and get into this matchup and see what these players are going to be going for. Opening of Hawk seems pretty standard. It's going to be Altar of Kings plus Barracks. Are we going to see an Archmage or a Mountain King? That is my question on this particular matchup, and map, as the Mountain King has been very, very popular as of late, but instead going to be going for an Archmage versus a Death Knight. No big surprises in terms of the heroes. If only real surprise would have been if the hero was, we'll say, Lich or not even Dreadlord first. Side has recently been making Dreadlord a much more popular hero choice. A little bit difficult for heroes to try, or players to try and predict what is going to be happening as things, well, get underway here. We are looking at the graveyard already being added. We are seeing a Tomb of Relics being placed down. Death Knight should be able to pick up a Rod of Necromancy fairly easily. I don't know if that Acolyte actually got any kills, as that Acolyte, well, could have gotten a kill on a critter to try and get some Rod of Necromancy action going. I love those aggro first Paladin versus Undead games. I like it as well, but at the same time, it just seems to fall a little bit much flatter than later on. Archmage with that Brilliance Aura is so incredibly important, as the Brilliance Aura is one of those necessary strategies to try and well, have a lot of healing action going on. Meanwhile, we're looking at the Ensnare on that Acolyte. However, Hawk does not go for the bait to try and finish it off, as we're going to look at that, well, last Forest Troll Trapper getting taken down there. Water Elemental is denied, doesn't want to accidentally give his opponent any bit of additional experience, as the Footman now wandering around on the inside here. We do see a Nerubian Tower being added, and the Death Knight should be making a quick run over here in just a moment. Acolyte is going to be playing a game of run around the Haunted Goldmine, and what this does is that the Acolyte will always run around to the opposite side and then just automatically teleport back across here. You're going to see, does this Footman try and chase? Yes, he's going to go ahead and now try to run back out. That Acolyte was able to run around, and then by the time it switches targets, well, things are going to be bad news. And not the best, but the plays are just fun to watch. It is, but remember, this is ESL Cup. There is more being played on the line as opposed to a simple BattleNet or NetEase ladder match. Footmen and Militia now making their rounds down across here. Forest Troll Trapper could get taken down. There goes a Death Coil onto that Death Knight. Death Knight taking a little bit of that experience right there, getting up to level 2, as even the Acolytes joining in on the fight here. Who's going to get that last bit of experience? It looks as though the Archmage actually got it. Death Coil did go off though, so a little bit of mana lost right there, as Happy is now trying to pull back. There is only skeletal minions and footmen right now. I do not see a Crypt Fiend. Crypt Fiend now making its way out across the battlefield here. So that first Crypt Fiend is going to be incredibly important. Death Knight does have that unholy aura, and it is the more powerful version of that unholy aura right there. As we're going to see a Death Coil go down onto that peasant. Is that peasant going to be able to jump inside? Yes, it will, as it still ends up taking a bit of damage from that Death Knight. All right, Crypt Fiend could be joining in on the fight. A new Rod of Necromancy. The Crypt Fiend coming bearing gifts to continue this pressure here to try and make it difficult for this expansion to get up and operational. All right, more repairs are going to be underway. That skeletal minion still dancing around here. Will it end up getting taken down? Yes, it will, giving a little bit of experience, but not very much. Death Knight, with the cooldown on that Rod of Necromancy, unable to summon additional skeletons, and also being low on mana on that Death Knight, opts to now try and retreat, regroup, and perhaps get some experience of his own. He did a pretty good defense by Hawk, exactly. Being able to just hold on to his expansion, get it up and running. The Arcane Tower is already up. You can see plenty of peasants are already down. More peasants are being trained, and with those peasants being trained, I am expecting to see a tech to tier 2. The question, though, is the number of footmen that are trained. There are currently 6 footmen out onto the battlefield. And well, the Archmage actually tried to go after the Death Knight right now. It may do a very good job. Death Knight already down to 157 hit points. And well, Undead's early weakness is that they do not have an easy way to heal. Alright, are we going to see that skeletal minion just try to dive on in? Oh, purposely double backs away. Footmen still making their way around as the Archmage comes in with level 2 water elementals to get damage onto the slaughterhouse. Damage onto the slaughterhouse is, well, creeping up slowly but surely. Are we going to see another water elemental dropped into play here? Death Knight is out onto the field as we're looking at damage getting added in. Crypt Fiend. Oh, there's that second water elemental that is going to delay the slaughterhouse, and more importantly, those obsidian statues, or not more importantly, by nature, those obsidian statues. But now that the Death Knight is sitting at level 3, also back at home, seemed to get a little bit of healing as the Lich is now out onto the field, and now Hawk is in trouble. That one presence of that Frost Nova-ing Lich is a big deal as one footman does get taken out. Timing right there, absolutely clutch to get that Lich out onto the battlefield. That Frost Nova able to do a good amount of damage, slowing down that Archmage, forcing the Scroll of Town Portal, as we're looking at Hawk most likely teching to tier 2 during this time, and should be getting up an Arcane Sanctum. I don't see a Blacksmith, though. Is the Blacksmith down here? Yes, Blacksmith is now being built down to the south, so we should be transitioning into priests and riflemen. All right, we are looking at Ring of Protection +4. A little bit more survivability items, incredibly important on that Archmage, as we should also be picking up perhaps a Clarity Potion and a Scroll of Regeneration. Archmage going to make his way back across over here. Do we see a Forest Troll High Priest? No, we do not. Why spend the gold on a Forest Troll High Priest when you are going to be getting up your own priest here in just a little bit? Now, one thing that is often it seems like for an intelligence-based hero, the Lich's auto attack is much scarier than, say, the Farseers or the Archmages, and that is because of that Orb of Corruption that we know will be going to that Lich here in just a moment. Add in the fact that that Lich now has a fast attack speed because of those double gloves of haste, and that Lich, if it is microed quite a bit, can attack multiple targets and just give a lot of negative armor. Death Knight gonna go ahead and teleport. No, not teleporting back, canceling that right there. How do you like the clause of +5 clause of attack change, by the way? I suppose it's the it's aimed mainly at. I think it's really aimed mainly at ranged intelligence heroes. That is my assumption right there. Normally, if you give it to like the Demon Hunter early on, you're like, oh, okay, it's the Demon Hunter is doing maybe like 10% to 15% more damage, or 15% more damage. Meanwhile, the Archmage is like dealing 33% more damage, and it seems to shift the game a lot early on. I still do believe that overall, the Claws of Attack +6 don't scale into the late game nearly as well as, say, Circlets of Nobility do, just because the Circlets of Nobility essentially gives almost an entire hero level, and also +6 stats overall. Very, very important. We're looking at 40 supply compared to 38. Happy having, slightly behind in terms of supply, but having the larger army by far, as Hawk does have a lot more workers. Coming back around here, Hawk is trying to put pressure, but is not going to really be able to get that far. You can see a quick Frost Nova onto that Archmage. And the units are now all in a massive run. Are we going to be looking at another Frost Nova there? No, we are not. Well, low hit point Water Elemental looking to back up as well. There's the Death Coil for that little bit of guaranteed experience. As you get higher and higher level on your Death Knight, you want to start taking out your opponent's units as the creeps actually start giving you less experience. Alright, we're looking at a Staff of Teleportation. Death Knight escapes away at level 3, picks up, I don't know what it picked up. Teleported back home, picks up the Orb of Corruption. That's what the item was, giving level 3 to the Lich, and we'll be transferring that off right there. All right, fast attack speed on that Lich, plus 13 damage. Very, very important. I think it's a minor change, but decent. Circlets, yeah, I still think Circlets being able to give plus 6 stats at at its current drop table is rather strong. And yeah, that's just my 2 cents right there. It almost feels I really wish like the Boots of Quel'Tha lost, the Belt of Giant Strength, and the Robe of Magi actually gave +7 or +8 stat, or and making it a little bit more like, wow, that is a giant item bonus there. But then you also get into the issue of, say, the Pure-Up of Vitality, right? The Pure-Up of Vitality, it essentially gives the same amount of hit points as the Belt of Giant Strength currently, without the rest of the stats here, as we're now going into Happy with the Pit Lord. All right, yeah, no spoilers, don't want to read that, as the Pit Lord now going to try to dive on in here. There are flying machines in position, and the flying machines are there to try and deal with any sort of, now rain of fire coming in, and you're going to see a lot of damage across all of these guard towers here, trying to get into some repairs, unable to do so, as the peasants, well, doing a great job making sure, big Frost Nova coming across here, massive repair coming across here, as we're looking at the Arcane Tower, now feedbacking Lich a lot of damage. All right, we're going into a base or a base trade scenario. Archmage is in position as well, trying to finish off some of these units. Knights are also joining in on the fight, and these are very early Knights already in onto the battlefield, only at the 11-minute mark. All right, guard towers are still putting in a lot of pressure. Lich is going to lose all of its mana. Where is that Death Knight? Don't know where the Death Knight is. The Paladin now joining in on the fight on the opposite side. All right, this is turning into a very calculated scenario here. More repairs getting no more repairs, as the Arcane Tower just trying to slowly remove that Lich's mana, as it doesn't really care about the Pit Lord. All right, coming back across to the side here. Knights now going after the Citadel. Citadel down to 900 hit points. Going to try and escape here. As we're going to look at all of the units trying to back away, down to 744. As now in comes some damage. Stormbolt onto some of those units. Mountain King does not have mana for a Thunderclap, as it only has Bash anyways, as the Archmage could be in trouble. Is the Archmage going to be able to heal up? There is a Holy Light onto the Crypt Fiend, but the Crypt Fiend still able to survive, not finishing off that many units in the back. One Footman still in the back trying to put pressure here, as we see a Scroll of Town Portal back into the expansion location. Knights do have Sundering Blades and the Animal War Training. Wow, a lot of upgrades on those Knights, and Happy staying in low upkeep. Meanwhile, Hawk is currently in low upkeep here, as they are now transitioning back and forth. Flying Machine's going to go ahead and scout out this bottom right-hand side location. Happy still staying in low upkeep. Hawk doing a good job with a little bit of that pressure across onto the other side. 4-2-1 going up against a 4-3-1. That could be a problem, as that Lich's level 2 Frost Nova, well, can spell certain doom. Pit Lord already getting back a little bit of mana. Are we getting new Arcane Towers? No, we are not. There is one guard tower, and that is it, protecting this expansion location. It doesn't look like additional things are going to get added in at all. And at this point and stage in the game, Flying Machines, I thought we would be getting at heavier armor upgrades. We see heavy Flying Machines and Knights now working together to try and, well, counteract and deal with the eventual destroyers that Happy will be training up in just a moment to help deal with those Knights. Scroll of Regeneration right here. We should also be looking at Staff of Sanctuary, already taking some units back. There you go. There's that Staff of Sanctuary being used right there, as the Mountain King, Paladin, and Archmage now roll on out. Right, we're looking at a 63 supply compared to a 49, and well, we are getting in some repairs on that Black Citadel back up to 1,600 hit points, as we're going to go into an engagement here. This could be very bad news. Knight trying to get in some damage onto those Crypt Fiends, as the Knights, I really wish they had, as the tier 4 units, I wish they had a little bit of a little bit more ways to engage and chase down their units, their opposing units. You can see with the Death Knight's Unholy Aura, the Crypt Fiends are just able to escape far too easily. Sometimes I wish they had the Zealot's charge ability. It would seem to make sense, as the Knights would able to close in on that distance, since their main advantage overall is their high mobility. And anyways, let's go to continue to make their way through. We are not looking at any priests out in this battle. This is a big surprise, though. This is just turning into knights and flying machines as the battle is going on here. We're seeing a lot of damage getting added in. Knight is now down to, well, almost dead here, down to 61 hit points. One more shot could do it as the units are able to back away. However, what's going on here? Water elementals gonna get finished off, giving a little bit of extra hit points. These water elementals is gonna, I don't know if that is timed life right there. This water elemental not gonna be nearly as lucky. They're good enough as it is. I don't know. We'll see what happens after after the unholy aura nerf, right? That slight movement speed decrease. Knights, you know, with their high mobility, they're supposed to be fast units. They're supposed to be able to chase down targets. And then Death Knight with Unholy Aura, those Crypt Fiends seem to be moving just as fast as Knights, being able to get away. Crota, you constantly want to buff Human Rifle, then Knights. Well, if you look at all four of the race's tier three heavy melee units, I still feel that Knights are actually on the weaker end of the spectrum, right? Knights generally lose. Knights will lose to Bears, Knights will lose to Tauren, but, you know, Tauren is a 5 supply unit. Knights will lose to Abominations, and Knights, is that all three? And Knights, yeah, that is the remainder of the three. What's next? Tanks? No, tanks do not need any upgrade. And I think thematically, though, it would just make sense if Knights didn't have Sundering Blades, but Knights had charge to be able to, like, charge after a unit and temporarily stun it. I think that would be, and it only worked on, say, on units, not on heroes. I think that'd be interesting. No. All right. My human bias does definitely show. It just makes sense to me. Like, come on, Knights charge, right? Like, it makes sense to me. That's what Knights do. Get those horses to run a little bit faster and, stun those units. All right, Knights trying to push their way across here. Knights, an army of Knights going up against this army here. Frost Nova across all of that slow, once more unable to get to their targets as we see Rain of Fire now just coming in from the sky. Flying machines trying to protect from destroyers that are simply not there, as Happy's Crypt Fiends are just running around in the back again. Knights going after all of these units. Archmage, Paladin, Mountain King working together here to try and finish off some of those units. Staff of Sanctuary saving some of those Knights as we see Wand of Illusion used across multiple Crypt Fiends here to make it difficult to, well, focus down any of those units once more. Paladin gets up to level 2. Does he go for Divine Shield? Yes, he does. He has Divine Shield as we're looking at double Staff of Sanctuaries to try and save those Knights. All right, one Knight, is he going to get taken out? Yes, he will. No Staff of Sanctuary in time as those, Crypt Fiends trying to run away once more. There goes another Knight. So Knights going up against Crypt Fiends. 64 supply compared to 44. Happy is still behind in terms of supply, but that does mean that the economy is still decent for Happy, as there is the GG. Tanks should just crush anything 2 supply or less in their path. No. Hawk doing a wonderful job in that matchup. That totals the final score very close, but I just think that Happy was not expecting Flying Machines and Knights. A straight run. Well, Metaphysics, I'll say this. Was Knights there? Was Knights in that situation a win more? Or did the Knights actually turn the table? We're looking at all 3 categories, right? The resources. Hawk had a significant advantage in terms of economy. He had that expansion up and running for a very long time, and he had a 30 or 20 supply advantage going into that fight. With that fight going through, still a large number of Knights fell, and I think that if Hawk didn't have that Staff of Sanctuary have those Staff of Sanctuaries throughout the match, there could have been too much of a hero advantage for Happy. Happy perhaps could have been able to even get more higher levels on his heroes, thereby actually letting him win the game. No, but seriously, very well played by Hawk. Yeah, stopping Happy from expanding was well. I don't really think I saw Happy trying to expand whatsoever. I think Happy was satisfied to do one base play. It wasn't as Happy tried to aggressively expand and got shut down multiple times. It was that Hawk really didn't go. The real surprise was that he didn't go for Arcane Sanctums. That Arcane Sanctum, that rifle strategy has been so popular and so common that I just saw the board and I'm like, okay, this is what's going to happen next. Happy probably thought in that scenario, this is what Hawk is going to do next. Hawk completely like just ran past tier 2, ran into tier 3, got to knights, got flying machines, and got that paladin all fairly quickly. And and all of a sudden Happy's like, wait, like I can't go for destroyers. Hawk already has 5 or 6 flying machines in the air. Um, and now I don't have an easy way to deal with those knights. I'm behind economically. What can I really do? Knights are kind of really good for their cost at a tier 1 training building. They can pop out on suddenly on people, which is their strength. Okay, for to say that it comes from a tier 1 training building, yes, that's true, but you still need you still need castle for it. That's kind of like saying griffins are very good, considering that they're only trained from a tier 2 building. It's all of the other, yes, yes, you can start building a large number of knights relatively fast. Another surprise for me was, I don't know what happened there. Another surprise for me was the fact that he was able to get animal war training, get sundering blades, get knights, and it all seemed pretty seamless off of one barracks. That was one of the surprises to me as well. So hats off. It is settled. Knights Imba, please nerf. No. No, Knights. I think I did the math. I think Knights lose against every single other melee, tier 3 melee, if they have all of their upgrades. Bears definitely with rejuvenation and roar will win. Abominations with disease cloud, I believe, actually deal more damage. Taurens are, Taurens are Tauren. There's the 5 supply unit. They should win out on that fight. Um, if undead reached Banshee, you can do nothing, knight or not. Well, an undead getting to Banshee at that point, you needed the economy, and it was really Happy's, I guess, insistence on not trying to go for that expansion. I think Happy totally thought that he could take out Hawk with that one base play. And this is one of those things where if you assume that you know what your opponent is doing, you end up making wrong decisions because you think you know the outcome of the game, and that's what really happened there. Happy couldn't adjust back over, and banshees are also mainly used much more for anti-magic shell. Trying to actually get to tier 3, get to banshees with possession, that would have been a little bit more a little bit more dangerous to try and do that, especially with a Mountain King who can Stormbolt take out those units. Yeah, all questionable. Anyways, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and well, stay tuned for another game.